Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to drboystv.com. And also, I want to say welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. What you just saw was a quick layout of what to expect this year at the sixth annual All Black National Convention. It's going to be hosted in Orlando the weekend of October 29th through November 1st. That's where we're going to gather a long list of Black experts from a multitude of areas: Black millionaires, Black health experts, people like Queen Afu and Dr. Christina Clark, who did that excellent testimony before the U.S. When was it? No, sorry, it's the Michigan House of Representatives. We have people like Nuri Muhammad, Julian Gordon, real estate expert. Brothers like Jay Morrison, who raised $13 million for the Tulsa Real Estate Fund in a historic achievement for Black people. Rizza Islam, Dr. Alicia, Vicky Dillard, Dr. Claude Anderson, just a long list of experts that are very good at what they do. And our goal is to solve problems in the Black community because that's what we do and that's what I believe we do well. Now, I want to welcome everybody and say hello and say good morning to my beautiful wife. How you doing today, babe?
Good morning. What a great lineup you got going on at the end of this month.
Yeah. We're super excited, and the convention, it takes a lot of work, and it's and a lot of determination, and I just I feel like it's necessary, particularly in light of what we're going to talk about today. You and I are both college professors. You're a PhD. You got your PhD from the Florida State University, and in social work, and my PhD is from the Ohio State University in finance. And one of the things that we have both kind of been challenged with is just some of the issues with academia and whether or not academia is a place that always ends up doing right by Black people in terms of solving real problems. um, so let's just jump into it. So did you see what was going on with HBCU funding? And
Yeah, I saw it a couple of days ago. It's very disappointing, boys. This is a very sad day for HBCUs.
mm-hmm.
Very sad day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I remember you always told me about how great, when you went to Florida State, FAMU was right down the street, and your father was a famous professor at Tuskegee.
Well, yeah, I mean, I grew up at HBCU. My parents graduated from Talladega College.
What?
Yeah, that's where my mom. Well, no, my mom graduated from Talladega College, and my dad was a professor there. And my brother grew up. I wasn't born yet, but he grew up on that campus. And I just love the tradition of an HBCU. I really wanted to teach at a HBCU too, but I enjoyed being at Florida State. It was really nice that FAMU was literally right across the street. FAMU, by the way, is it's a public institution, so it's not a private institution. So, interestingly enough, they was able to lobby the Florida State legislation such that every penny that goes to Florida State is matched by FAMU.
Mm,
So
wow,
so
that's
that's why I
cool.
think FAMU is a really well funded institution, and you can tell because their programs are great.
Wow. Well,
Hmm.
shout out to FAMU and
Yeah,
the Rattlers.
the Rattlers.
Yeah. We went to that football game with FAMU. Was it FAMU in Jackson State? Is
The
that
FAMU in Jackson State.
most
Yeah.
most boring football game ever though?
No, but it's the halftime show, boys.
The halftime show was lit. The crowd was lit. The game on the field, if you're into those boring defensive battles where each side is three and out and they're punting the ball all day, then it's okay. I thought I'd get a little bit more excitement from Neon Dion, but we had a good time. Yeah, so shout out to HBCUs and HBCU graduates. If you're an HBCU grad, shout yourself out. And also here's what's going on. This is why everybody's just kind of outraged right now. There are reports that the Biden administration, remember Joe, the guy who was going to save us from, the Republicans who were going to come kill us and whatever they told us they were going to do. Basically, they're trying to really mutilate HBCU funding. I mean, according to Newsweek and Black Enterprise and other respected journalistic outlets, they're literally talking about chopping HBCU funding 95.5%, literally from 45 billion to just 2.
Jeez.
I mean, imagine if you had a job, right? And you were making 45 grand a year And they're like,
Hmm.
"Oh, we're gonna cut your pay from 45,000 a year to 2,000." I mean,
Yeah, I mean, well, these a lot of these universities are already struggling, and
mm,
I'm sure there are a lot of Black people that are going to get their jobs cut because of this.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. A lot of people are just furious. I don't know how many of y'all. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you heard about this funding cut and what was going on with that. I talked about it on Instagram. My Instagram's the Real Boys Watkins. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you're aware of what's going on. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people don't know what to think. Let me see here. BG Fella says, "Why didn't your wife attend an HBCU?" Did you want to answer that or?
Well, it was interesting because since my dad taught at a HBCU, we had a conversation about whether I would go to Tuskegee or
Mhm.
whether I would go to a state school since I'm in the Midwest. And he said, look, you can come to Tuskegee. I'll be more than happy to have you at Tuskegee. But it just so happened that I ended up going to a state school in Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just ended up that way. I don't remember what I was thinking when I
Well,
was 18 years old.
well, a lot of your friends went to Indiana. I mean, and that
I
was what.
probably went where my friends went. That's
Yeah.
probably
Hmm.
that's what happened.
Well, that's where I
And
met you.
I think the sad part about it was that going to Indiana, because I graduated top 10% of my class, they gave me a lot of money.
Mm,
And I do believe like if I had gone to Tuskegee, it would have been almost free
mm,
if you have a parent that works. So it just turned out that way. But he felt as if at Tuskegee some of the facilities like the dorms was lacking. Now my brother went to Howard, and I have a long history of people at Howard University, and so his experience at Howard was super chaotic for him.
oh,
And
really?
so I think my parents didn't feel, because I live in the Midwest, I don't think my parents felt comfortable sending their little sheltered 18-year-old child, away. I would have had to left the state, and I would
Mm,
have been far away from my parents, so to speak. And I don't think that they had like the type of funding. So there was a process that went into place. It was a very thoughtful process, I think, among the people who influenced me. Yeah,
interesting. Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and also, I mean, you have some lineage at these schools. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't your great grandfather like on the original line of the Qs
The first night at
at
Howard.
Howard? Like he was one of
Hmm.
the like literally one of the very first Qs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
so your brother could have got in there like nothing.
Yeah, because they had the same name. They had the
Francis Taylor. Holy,
Francis
holy
Taylor.
shit, that's
So
so
he would
crazy.
meet people at Howard. He'd be like, "Wait, I know that name," you know. But
I memorized your granddaddy's name. That's crazy. That's so
yeah,
cool.
and see, I think like the history. I mean, we know about the histories of HBCUs and how important they are for Black people historically, even today.
Mm,
How important they are. This is a very sad day, and I think it's even more devastating because we now have an administration who pushed this forward. Could the Trump administration or Republican administration really have gotten away with this as much? Like, why isn't
mm.
everybody up in arms about this? Like, everybody.
Well, that's what's interesting, right? You have people that are up in arms, and these tend to be the same people who were agreeing back when Ice Cube and I were doing that whole campaign to kind of say we have to get some tangibles in line before we give anybody our vote. And I think everyone else is kind of remaining silent. Like a lot of people really asked legitimate questions. I saw a brother on TV Hip Hop Media, who said, where are the AKs who are out here skiweeing for
Yes,
Kamala
they
Harris?
were.
Like where are y'all out here holding them accountable? And I think what I'm gonna speculate on, and I want to be careful. My sister's an AKA, right? And
Hmm.
a lot of good women I know that are in that sorority. My brother's an alpha, and much respect to that. But it's kind of like whenever the Democrats come short, we always have a convenient excuse.
There's
Well,
no
well,
excuse for
it's those
this.
racist Republicans in Congress, or he's the president. He can't do it all by himself. They used to do that with Obama a lot. Like they literally acted like Obama had no power as president of the United States, which was really offensive to people who who understand that the president does have power. Like the president, if he has no power, then what's the point in voting for him? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, there are powers in control that are higher than the president. Apparently, there are.
Yeah.
But even with that, like, what happened in negotiation that HBCUs got put on the chopping block?
Well, a lot of times it seems like politicians they only sort of serve the people that make them do it. Like if you're not heavy-handed with them. If you don't know, and we covered this a lot last night in the book club, which we do every Wednesday night. We're reading Black Labor, White Wealth, and Dr. Claude Anderson was basically explaining how Black people tend to get left behind, not just politically but also economically, because we don't play hardball like everybody else. Like, he was explaining how in Cuban in like Little Havana and all that down in Miami, the Iranians tried to put businesses in their neighborhoods, and they were like, "We will kick your whole entire ass if you try to come up in here and take our money. You ain't coming in our neighborhood and building up businesses. We're not going to allow you." Whereas Black people don't tend to think that way. We think that that's mean or racist or whatever, right? And so the same thing is true, I think, politically. We don't have enough uh, gangster in our blood to say, if you don't do right by me, I'm not gonna give you no votes, right? We gotta do like that lady. What was the lady in the color purple? Whoopi. Remember at the end when she told him, "Till you do right by me, ain't nothing. Everything
Everything
you
you
do
do
go fail,"
gonna
right?
fail.
And you
Yes.
see how he got scared? Like,
Yeah.
Mister got really, he got real nervous, right? Right? Because she had to get gangster on him, and that's what it is. I think dealing with politicians and dealing with
We need to get
any competitive
gangster on
situation.
Camila. I mean, Camila Harris coming from her. I wonder. I mean, did she put a statement out? Did she address any of these things?
Mm,
You just kind of wonder what happened, because this is coming off of the coattails of the Haitian crisis.
mm.
Another thing, and the fact that the View, we knew that. I mean, come on,
Oh, that was hilarious. When
that was so
Sonny
obvious.
Hoskins suddenly got a false positive COVID
Like,
test, so
what
that
was that?
just so they would not have to deal with the visual of a strong Black woman confronting a weak Black woman.
Oh, geez.
That would have been a shit show.
So I mean, it was so obvious that some shenanigans went on there, and so here we go, yet another shenanigans,
Yeah, more shenanigans.
more
You,
shenanigans.
by the way, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins, and this is where we literally lay against our pillows and have intelligent conversations about important issues, and pretty much whatever comes to mind. So it's not just about sort of thinking and analyzing things. We also have fun. So if you, whatever platform you're on, if you'll subscribe, we would really appreciate that. And also, I'll put Alicia's website up in her Instagram. You can follow her, coaching with dralicia.com. And she also sees couples and does couples counseling and stuff like that. So you can feel free to go look into what she does. Okay, so and if you want to know her academic background, she's a full professor of social work, and you guys know my PhDs in finance. So let me read some of this article to you guys, so we can have some more detailed information about exactly what's going on. Give me a yes in the chat if you can still hear me okay. I'm switching screens on my phone. I want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. All right. So here, according to Black Enterprise, it says HBCU funding falls from 45 billion to 2 billion in Biden's spending plan due to Democratic infighting. So the Democrats are fighting, which is causing Black people to suffer. Uh, HBCUs that were looking to get their share of 45 billion funding as part of Joe Biden's spending plan may see less than 5 billion due to Democratic infighting. Biden's $3.5 trillion spending bill, now mind you, 3.5 trillion, God, that's so much money, was set to include 45 billion in spending for HBCUs and other minority serving institutions, MSIs. Okay, I didn't know that term, but I guess
Minority, yeah. There's I think there's Hispanic serving institutions. I think there's one, a category.
um,
I don't know what those universities are though.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm kind of tired of being a minority, man. I ain't no damn minority. Anyway, I'm not. There's nothing minor about me. Okay, thank you very much. My wife can attest to that. All right, so I have a very big brain. All right, so let me stop. I'm being silly. All right, so however, the newest version. I mean, we are laying here in the bed together, so we might as well just be honest.
Oh,
Okay, all right. So the newest version of the bill allocated just $2 billion for educational programs and HBCUs. Even worse, the funding could be changed into competitive grant funding instead of direct funding to the schools. The aid, currently penciled in at 1.45 billion to be distributed between 2022 and 2026, is much less than HBCUs anticipated, putting Biden at odds with the group that propelled him to the White House. Quote, the number is just significantly lower than what we had hoped for, said Paul Jones, president of Fort Valley State University and vice chair of the Council of 1890 Presidents, told Inside Higher Ed. Along with the minority serving institutions and the Hispanic serving institutions, it's really sort of lumping us all into this one sector when we all have tremendous needs. You know what's so interesting to me, babe? I kind of feel sorry for a lot of the bureaucrats that that are under the umbrella of the Bidens and the Democrats, because you know what they remind me of? They remind me of like these I remember I saw a video once about a puppy dog who thought he was going to get to eat, and his master, for whatever reason, would not give him the food. He kept teasing him with the food, but he kept feeding the other dog, and the dog was just looking at him like, I'm loyal to you, man, but you ain't feeding me. But he was scared to say anything because he didn't want to upset his master. But so he was loyal to his master, but he was hurt that, like,
He's
man.
like, I'm so good to you.
Yes, yes. Oh, and then in the video, what was crazy, and the reason he wasn't getting to eat was because the other dog, it was a big dog. The big dog was the like loyal, friendly dog who was sitting there like doing what he was told, and the dog that got to eat, I kid you not, this is the craziest video. The dog that got to eat was the tiny dog who was like, man, fuck your rules. You throw this hot dog down here, I'm eating first, right?
And the thing, let me tell. Have you ever had a dog, boys?
I did when I was little.
No, I'm talking about dogs are loyal. I remember, like, no matter what you do to a dog, once they attach to you and they really love you, you can almost do anything to them and they'll still love you. And it is the most unconditional love. I mean, to the point where I think it's very therapeutic, by the way. But dogs are wonderful, wonderful pets to have.
Wow.
Because that type of bond is not like a cat. It's not like anything else. And it's so easy to take a
Cats
dog
ain't
for.
loyal.
Cats don't care. But it's so easy to take a dog for granted, and they would just love you and look on you no matter what.
So I'll be curious. Do you
So
think
we're just like
do
pets.
you think I almost feel like some of like I really think about like those who are really stuck on concepts like integration, like really believe integration is working. Unfortunately, maybe are stuck on white validation. Maybe dependent upon money coming from government or white people. I wonder if I honestly think that like I'm the loyal. I'm not gonna say that they are loyal puppies. I'm saying that they get treated that way, right? Like okay, you're loyal to me regardless. You ain't going nowhere. Biden goes and does interviews. He's like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, right? So that's a way of saying like, I know you ain't going nowhere. You're my loyal little puppy dogs, and it doesn't matter how much I pee on you. You're still gonna have my back, because in the next election, I know exactly how to trigger you and make you, scare you into voting for me.
You have got to, and when they run again, I guess they're going to run again for another term. You got to replay this video. You got to replay this podcast, because we have to remind people what happened in the moment where it could have been a slam dunk. Like, you're thinking, what? We got an HBCU grad as a vice president. I bet they were sticking their chest out like, I know we got this money. We are
What?
not going to, she going to look out for us. What? You thought you had somebody in the White House that's going to be like, that's going to be looking back and really helping to progress HBCUs, which I think are the most best, fascinating institutions on this
Did you
planet.
say the most best?
The most best, the most bestest.
The bestest.
I mean, really, not even just academically. I'm talking about the experience that Black students get at a HBCU. It's like no other. You see students who come from all different types of neighborhoods. When you come to an HBCU and when you graduate from there, you get a sense of who you are. You get a curriculum that you don't get anywhere else. Everything is Black centered. I mean, you come out of those HBCUs in the way that you are not when you come into HBCUs. It is really an uplifting thing. I saw online several, the freshmen, where they welcome the freshmen in, and they have them march, they have them dress up, and they have them march through campus, and everyone gets together, stops what they're doing, gets together and sings for them and lifts them up. I mean, this is an experience that we know as Black people, we don't get this on a daily basis. So this is devastating for HBCUs, particularly for those real small institutions. Well, I'm not talking about a Howard or a FAMU or large HBCUs. I'm talking about those really tiny ones, those small ones that's put together on a shoestring budget, where the dorms are dilapidated. but the education and those black women, a lot of black women running those institutions are hugging up those kids and dealing with all of their social issues in a way that they would never ever get it at a mainstream institution.
Mm. Okay, well, my thought is, and by the way, thank you, Lukeman. Lukeman says that when he makes his first 10 million, he's gonna give me 10%. He ain't got to get. I don't want to give it to me. I want to give it to the Black Business School, and actually this let me just to throw in kind of a thought. I thought a lot about HBCUs, right? I thought a lot about. First of all, I wished I could have gone to an HBCU when I was coming out of high school. I didn't have the grades. I didn't have no money. Didn't nobody want me, and I didn't know what the options are. I just didn't know what was out there. My
Yeah.
parents, we didn't talk about any of that, and so my experience as a student at University of Kentucky, it was very isolating because the
Hmm.
white students, I didn't vibe with them because I wasn't white. And then also, I didn't vibe with a lot with some of my black friends because they weren't. University of Kentucky doesn't exactly attract like the best and brightest black students. Like
Oh,
some
really?
some of them are good, some of them are very good. Don't get me wrong, but most of my friends were not into things they weren't into studying hard. Like I studied
Mm.
5 6 days a week, you know and I had the highest grade point average of every single black person on campus, but it wasn't that hard. It wasn't like I had stiff competition.
You showed up
Yeah,
to
yeah,
class.
it's like yeah. So I wished I could have been at HBCU that where there were some of those really talented black people to really challenge me.
Hmm.
So I admire and envy that. When I went to Syracuse to join the faculty, I desperately wanted to teach at an HBCU. I went to Howard to interview, and the guy who was the head of the finance department at the time, if I'm not mistaken, the chair was from China.
Oh, okay.
And I remember
Okay.
thinking to myself, why do I gotta impress this Chinese dude to convince him that I'm capable of
He's the
teaching?
gatekeeper. A
I can't.
Chinese guy is a gatekeeper,
Right,
whether you
right.
get a
You gatekeeping me from talking to my own people.
his word meant something. So if you got on his nerves or said something wrong, his word would have like
Well, how about
not.
how about the words "fuck you"? Like seriously, is that did that offend you? And seriously, I mean, and I'm saying that because there ain't no way on this earth. Y'all give me a yes or no if y'all think this is even possible. Show me one university in China where you got to go impress an African American, where a Chinese man has to impress an African American
In order to
to
get a job.
convince him to let him teach Chinese students. Y'all give me a yes or no. Do y'all think a university like that has ever existed in the history of all mankind? I'm making a point here. I'm gonna make it brief because I want my wife to talk. So here's the deal. Um, HBCUs, many of them are weak because they're historically co-opted.
Oh,
That
okay.
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
Maybe.
don't get me no.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying that you can't have a wonderful experience there at all. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But sometimes you can look at an HBCU as an educated version of what you see when you go to a penitentiary. What do I mean by that? When I went to Detroit, listen,
See,
I'm gonna
my
stop.
experience.
No. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong.
All
I'm
right.
gonna let you take over because I don't want to sound like the cynical asshole today, right?
Yeah.
But let's just keep it 100. The reason we're having this conversation is because they're getting screwed again, and I think I know the specific reasons why they're getting screwed the most. So, when I went to Detroit and I went to go visit one of the prisons in Detroit, I walked across the prison courtyard and it was nothing but black men everywhere.
Hmm.
Some of the guards were white, but nothing but black men everywhere. And I said, this prison looks like an HBCU. This could be if they didn't have matching uniforms, you
Hmm.
would really think you were on an HBCU campus. And so what as a result of all those black people being together, they created a black culture where it wasn't obviously it was prison, so it wasn't like a fun culture, but it reminded me of like I see the guys, clicking together, talking the way we talk, hanging out. These are good dudes, like normal. A lot of guys in prison are not terrible monsters. They made a
Wait,
mistake.
this is prison, not jail, because it's two
It,
separate
yeah,
things.
this was prison. This wasn't
Ooh.
jail. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and so long story short, my point is to say that when you bring black people together, whether you're bringing us together on the corporate plantation,
Hmm.
or you bringing us together in a prison, or you bringing us together at a HBCU, or you're bringing us together on a plantation in 1862, we're always going to find a way to create a culture that is unique and special and extraordinary. We do that. That's who we are. We're special. We got that magic, right? So that part is undeniable. The question becomes, who controls those institutions, right? Like, so the black men might have created culture within the prison, but the white man's running. The white man's the warden, or the black people may control the culture within the HBCU. But a lot of the decisions, the financial decisions, which that those are the people that have the power, are being made by people who are not black, right? And so what black folks have to understand is that when you're talking about playing above the rim, when you're talking about having real power, if you don't control your own money, then you don't control your own fate. So I'm done talking. Thank you for letting me make my cynical point. I would like to allow you to
Wh-
jump in.
Okay, I want to. There's a couple of points you made I want to address. I'm probably going to forget it by the time I get to my second point, but I think like because I did grow up. I grew up since the age of 3 at a HBCU,
Hmm.
and I do know that they do have challenges getting faculty in. Because you made the comment about a Chinese guy is your gatekeeper into the HBCU. I think they have challenges getting. They want to be able to hire black faculty, and so they in I think in the field of finance, you talked about it yourself, there's not a lot of PhDs in finance that are, and if they do have PhDs in finance, a lot of them are not black. They probably extremely excited to see you apply. Like a black male PhD is so rare. They probably were really excited to see you. Do you know if you got the job?
And
That's what I
Howard?
want to know. Uh-huh.
No, I mean the Chinese guy didn't think I could teach
He
black
didn't
people.
care for you so much.
Right.
Okay, that is. Was he the only decision maker? Did you
he
get to talk to other
I remember
people?
talking to him, and I think it just didn't go further than that. And I think, and I don't totally blame them. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was the only black man in America, on earth actually, to get a PhD
Yeah.
in finance during the year 2000. Black man or woman, there was not even any black
Well,
women
we
to get.
know women in finance. That really is rare.
Right, right. So
Mm-hmm.
so I have the credentials. I work with the best people in the world, but my track record, I've always been cutting edge in terms of really pushing the envelope to say, are we going bullshit or are we going to solve a damn problem? And that offends people, right? When you nudge people,
Did you
and
offend people at this job interview, boys?
I not at the interview, but I let them know black that I was B1. But even back, I was B1 before that even meant,
Yes,
before that was a concept.
that
Like
is very true.
I just would let people know, like, look, my goal is to benefit the black community. That's why I'm here doing this.
Wait,
I
hold
was
on.
I was willing to go to Howard. I was willing to go to Howard and take a pay cut in a more expensive city. That's how bad I wanted to go there.
So wait, if there's any place where you can say I am black first, it should be at a HBCU. Are you saying that you couldn't say that at Howard? This may be just Howard University because I've had some experiences at Howard University that were less than ideal. We'll just put it
Yeah.
that way.
Well, remember Francis
So
Cress Wellesley got fired from Howard.
yeah, and so there's a lot of other stuff
Yeah.
happening.
So
Remember when Felicia Rashad said something about
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby and
Yep.
they came down on her.
Oh, they were like,
So
oh,
let's just put
where's the whip at,
yeah.
Missy?
So I think we should just put Howard in its own unique category because I don't think most HBCUs operate this way. I just
Hmm.
want to say, and I know that they're always looking for talent. They're always looking for black talent.
Well,
And mhm.
here's the deal, right? Um, the reason that I believe black people prefer, say, the Democrats versus the Republicans is because the Democrats, they seem to um be there for us when we are most broken and most downtrodden. Like if we're struggling and completely marginalized, the Democrats are the ones who say, okay, we'll let you in under certain conditions. The problem with the Democrats, the reason that millions of black people just fucking hate the Democrats right now, in
Mhm.
general,
Mhm.
is because there is a glass ceiling to how much power a black person is allowed to have within a democratic designed white supremacist infrastructure. So what they'll say is, look,
So they'll look at Camilla Harris and they will be, oh, poor thing. She was up against it real hard and couldn't get our funding
yeah,
through. Do you
yeah,
think they'll have some empathy for her?
I think they will, and I think that what they'll do. I mean, when I was working with Ice Cube, one of the leading politicians in the Democratic Party reached out and said, people think that we're not trying to help the black community, but we really are. It's the
Yeah.
racist people in the Democratic Party who don't want to let us do anything. So it's just kind of one of those things where you know, I don't know. Maybe it reminds me of like when you talk about this whole debate about getting the jab or not getting the jab, which by the way, I don't whatever people choose to do, I believe it's your right. It's not like the jab makes you safe. The jab does not make you safe
It's
completely. It
psychological.
doesn't.
Hmm.
Well, it's not like it makes you 100% safe because nothing's 100%. It's not like it makes you healthy, right? But some would argue that it gives you a little bit of more protection than what you would have without it, right? And I see the Democratic Party is the same way. It's their jet, it's their vac. I don't use that word, but
Hmm.
their protection against white supremacy by saying we're not going to treat you well, and we're not going to give you real power, but we will treat you better than the Republicans, and that's pretty much all you people can actually ask for.
Hmm. Hmm. It's like, what are you gonna do? It's either us or who or what. You're gonna be out cold on your own.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah.
yeah. If you paid attention to when what they usually say to us, they usually don't say these are all the ways we're going to make your lives better or make
Hmm.
you more empowered. They usually say we're better than the Republicans, and
Yeah.
then that's the thing. If you don't understand, this is why those people who are trained to make fun of conscious people and the do for selfers and as if that's not going to work. You got to understand the dangers of that kind of rhetoric, because if you never learn to do something for yourself, then you will never survive. You will never have any real say in your outcomes.
Interesting. Okay.
What do you think?
No, I mean, I think you're right. I was gonna make a point, but I forgot it because
No, because I kept
because you
saying,
kept talking.
because I just run my
You
mouth.
do.
I
It's
was
like
just yapping.
I do. I really would love for like one point, and then I can address the one point.
Oh, I'm sorry,
You
babe.
make like five. You make five excellent cogent points.
I know.
I really appreciate
I
that.
just be talking so much. I can't help it. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay.
Anyway, well, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. Her website is coachingwithdralicia.com. You can check this out right here. And my wife is a full professor of social work and an award-winning scholar. Actually, she's very good at what she does, and she does couples counseling and all that stuff. And me, I'm just the dude who was lucky enough to marry her. And I want to remind everybody that if you want to talk about things where Black independence and these sorts of problems are something that we're working to address and get rid of, we've gathered over 40 Black experts that are going to meet us at the All Black National Convention in Orlando the weekend of October 29th through November 1st. If you'd like to learn more about it, we are very family friendly, and also college students. If you bring a valid student ID, you can get in for free. And you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. The URL's on the screen. We literally identified the Black people that we believe should be the ones that Black people know about, right? Doesn't mean that other people are not doing their own thing. But we've got millionaires. We got many people in this group are millionaires. Some of them have done billions of dollars worth of real estate deals. Some of them are extraordinary mental health professionals, because y'all know a lot of our people need therapy. A lot of them are health experts like Queen Afua, who can take you beyond big pharma and medication and show you actually how to be truly healthy. Right. We got so many great people there. So feel free to go take a look. It's allblacknationalconvention.com. The URL's on the screen. We're looking to solve long-term problems, and I hope you understand that, and I hope that you will consider joining us at the convention October 29th through November 1st. Okay, so
Read more of the article because I'm really
okay.
interested to see.
Okay, so let's read a little bit more. All right, so do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. All right, so according to Black Enterprise, they said HBCUs have been underfunded for decades through
Mhm.
institutional racism and the federal government's unwillingness to help them. Um, so if you stick a pin in that sentence,
Mhm.
that pretty much says that the problem has been here since forever, and the glass ceiling I talked about.
Mhm.
It says we can't do better because white people won't let us.
Mhm.
That's what it. So that means that you are in the wrong system. I just want to make that point. Last summer, HBCU schools. Oh, go ahead, babe. You have some more.
No, I was gonna say it's almost like these universities are drowning, and what the Biden administration did was just hand them a brick. It's like they are
or
just gonna
a brick isn't gonna drown you. It has to be like an anchor.
a big anchor. It's just like, okay, we're barely treading water. We are drowning in this ocean, and now we're gonna sink all the way down to the bottom. This is data.
Well, it's funny that my brother at TD Hip Hop Media, he pointed out that like Biden was like buddies with some legit Klansmen.
Yes. Now I remember what I was going to say. I remember what I was going to say. Listen, this administration in office right now never campaigned on helping Black people at all.
Mm,
This was never like they are following through with what they said they were going to do. They never said they were going to offer reparations. They never said they were going to do anything specifically for Black people. Remember, you had it on
mhm.
video. Are you going to do anything specific earmarked to Black people? And Kamala Harris clearly said she was not going to do that.
Well, she
She
said.
said,
Well, she
she
said.
clearly said it.
She said I came to the step show. Like that's what y'all
I
gonna
went to
get.
the step show and she did all those political, remember those interviews that she did with, trying to get people out to vote? Remember, you have to get out to vote?
Yeah, yeah.
So they never campaigned on any sort of promise that they were going to help Black people. So this is really, and they're just following through on what they said they were going to do.
Mm. Well,
Yeah.
you can't. Can you really get mad at them? You know, I mean, because there
Well,
are
like,
there are people who are more loyal than those puppy dogs that we described earlier.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Where it doesn't matter what they do. Like I think that they're probably if I was Biden and his crew, I would be astonished by the amount of forgiveness that Black people have, the capacity to
Mm-hmm.
literally let anything slide. If I were them, I would just do experiments. Like, I wonder, like, what we can get away with. Like, I wonder if I tried to do this and I spin it the right way. Like just keep
They're
pushing the
probably
envelope.
stunned. They're like, wow, we still have support
Yeah,
no matter what.
it's
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty amazing. All right, so anyway, the next part, let's see here. Last summer, HBCU schools received millions in donations from Mackenzie Scott, the ex-wife of Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos.
Okay, so here we are. We demonize billionaires, and here is a billionaire's wife or ex-wife that's actually probably saved a lot of HBCUs, and we
Hmm.
can't even get our own government to do that.
Yeah, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
the way universities are supposed to get their money, this is how you get away from the government. Is HBCUs part of the reason they lose is because they don't embrace concepts like powernomics. Like Dr. Claude
Mm-hmm.
Anderson, one of the greatest economic thinkers, since Marcus Garvey, is right down the street from Howard, and Howard has never invited Dr. Anderson in. I mean, when I talked to Ice Cube and Kanye West about Dr. Claude Anderson, they both instantly tweeted about him. They instantly
Mm-hmm.
said buy his
Mm-hmm.
book. They were enamored with him to the point where it was like talking to an economic guy. They were like
Yes.
they were asking me. They were both like, "Can I talk to Dr. Anderson?" And Dr. Anderson's wife was like, "I don't really." She's real protective. She's like, because she's
Mm-hmm.
seen these celebrities that come along and they get intrigued you know and so Dr.
Ah.
Anderson's wife, shout out to her. She was really, his protector. And so my point is to say, here you got this guy who has your answer. He has your solution, and you won't even engage him because he scares white people.
Well, look what
Re-
happened to them. Remember, look what happened to Ice Cube. I mean, he got a lot
hmm
of backlash
Oh, and
for
Kanye.
just talking about some of this
Well, same
stuff.
thing with Kanye. Except, but Kanye's a billionaire and he's got real power, so he don't care what you think.
Mhm. Well,
You know,
I don't think he's ever really cared so much. He just seems like
he,
the kind of person that
he's never cared. But I think they could take a
dances to
they
his own
well,
beat.
they should take a note from the Kanyes and the Ice Cubes, in
Yeah.
my view. And this is where this election was really powerful to me because you had the Kanyes and Ice Cubes talking to people like me and Dr. Claude Anderson, and that made the Biden administration very nervous. Like
I'm sure it
they
did.
wouldn't talk to Ice Cube, but they'll talk to Cardi B because Cardi B will go along with the
Oh,
program.
because she's not. You think she came up with those
Well,
questions?
Cardi trying to stay
Come
out of
on, it
jail.
was
Well, no, Cardi trying to stay out of jail. Let's keep it 100. Cardi had some major charges. The people don't know that, but she had some.
what charges?
She did something. I mean, one of the things was like something involving some lady that she beat her. She beat her up because she was, I think, talking to her husband. I don't remember what it was, but something happened in a bar in New York, and she was facing. I think she was facing some charges. And then also there was I remember she went on Instagram and confessed to drugging and raping, having men raped. Right. So they could
Well, unless
they could
those men
easily.
come forward, those men would have to step forward and talk about their
They would, but then again, though,
to.
if they were white women, if a man just went online and said, I drugged and raped several white women, but they haven't come forward, they would probably cancel him. Like they
She
wouldn't.
never got canceled.
They would say, well, the victims are just too afraid to come forward. So
Well, we canceled her.
I don't. Well, we did, but not the world. But
Well,
Biden
that's a
didn't.
big deal.
But
We
but my
canceled.
point is to
Okay.
say,
Yes.
I think so it was interesting, right? That if you look at Cube and Kanye, whether you agree with them or disagree with them, these are two independent, very wealthy, powerful black men. Like Ice Cube, it is worth hundreds of millions, I'm sure. Kanye's a billionaire, certified by Forbes magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't why won't HBCUs embrace the kind of knowledge, the economic perspective that men like this are presenting when they go talk to a doc, because they're getting this from Dr. Claude Anderson. They're talking,
Mhm.
Charlemagne the God is building a whole podcast network that's probably going to be worth $1 billion by the time it's done. He loves Dr. Claude Anderson. They all, they embrace these ideas because they're like, this is it. The key for Black people to do what we want is we must own assets. So if you have an HBCU, and this is my point, now makes a point, and I'm done on this, because we're already doing this in the Black Business School.
Mhm.
If your school is teaching Black people to own assets, to own real estate, to start businesses, and to make investments, then you're going to produce thousands of alumni who are multimillionaires and some of them even billionaires. And guess what? That becomes your donor base. That is what Harvard and Yale have done. The
Mhm.
reason Harvard,
Mhm.
Yale, and Stanford can do whatever they want, they get government funding, but they're gonna survive no matter what. They're
They're
it's
not dependent on government funding like HBCUs are.
right,
Mhm.
right, and there are. Harvard has a
Mhm.
long Rolodex of billionaires that will write any check for anything they want to do.
Mhm.
They're not sitting around saying, "Well, we can't do it because the government won't come through with our money." Well, if all you're doing is producing employees,
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
that's exactly what you're going to get.
Mm. I love it. So you're saying that if we followed Claude Anderson's thinking in his book, then we will produce all of the Black individuals who can actually contribute to these HBCUs so that
Yes,
they're not dependent on government funding.
yes,
I
yeah,
got it.
and
Hmm.
I already see it happen. I mean, the Black Business School, we've been doing this for about 6 years now,
Hmm.
and we have alumni. We have people that came out of the school, like your friend Susan, who
Yes,
they come
she
back
is
and
killing it.
yeah, they come back and support the school because we teach Black folks how to build independent wealth and power. We're not into the whole, like, don't get me wrong, we don't make fun of you if you have a job. We just say we think there's more out there for you, and we wonder if this is best for you because the stressors that come with having somebody else constantly controlling your fate. So the
Hmm.
mindset of the HBCUs have to change. They are part of the reason that they are constantly stuck.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
so let me read more.
Okay.
Everybody, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button, if you haven't done it yet. So Coppin State University, Bowie State University, Morgan State University, and the University of Maryland Eastern Shore sued the state of Maryland in a federal lawsuit alleging discrimination and underfunding of HBCUs in 2006. After pushing back for more than a decade, the state agreed to a $577 million settlement this spring. Good for them. Roderick
Mhm.
Smothers, president of Philander Smith College, I think I met this brother, told Newsweek the federal funds received during the pandemic were paramount in helping the school survive the pandemic, as well as implement technology upgrades and student support. Quote, we use the funds that we received to serve the students that we have, and now we're
Mhm.
asking for additional funds to make sure that when we are on the other side of this global pandemic, our institutions will be bigger and better and more resilient, he said. Okay, good for him, good for him. I think a lot of these, leadership in the HBCUs, they're not all bad, right?
No, no, of
Yeah,
course.
they're not a bunch of losers or anything like that. I just think that,
They just
uh,
have struggles.
well, I think a little bit more courage and a little bit more imagination is required, unless you want to be a sucker for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but
What do you
I
think?
mean, I think it'd be really nice to have people weigh in who are actually a little more tied to these HBCUs. I mean, you
Absolutely.
do want to attract really good faculty, but you can't compete with the salary.
hmm
You make more money at these larger institutions, white institutions, and it's a tough decision to make. It's very
Yeah,
tough. Yeah.
it's extremely. I do agree with you on that. Um, I want to show you this cartoon that I thought was really funny. This was
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I want everybody to see this.
I thought about this cartoon as you were talking. That was another
This
point I
is
wanted
pretty
to make.
hilarious.
Hmm.
Yeah, so if
Hmm.
you see here, this was shared. Y'all can read it on the screen. I can't read where it came from because I got something blocking that. But there's literally this group of Black people, and then it shows a dog barking. The dog represents Black leaders, and they're barking at the white people. And then the white guy throws a bone to the dog, and then he turns and starts barking at the Black people. Right? Y'all see that? Give me a yes or no if you can see that. I think that's so funny because part of your challenge is that many of your Black leaders are not really black leaders. Like they are maybe mediators, or they are representatives of the white power structure, and their job is not so much to. They're not black leaders. They're really black. They're really Negro managers.
Mm-hmm.
Like their job is to manage black people and to carry water for the white power structure, and to keep black people in line. And you see them come out, exhaustively during election season, because what happens then, and you saw it during the pandemic too.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the power structure has an agenda, they say, "Huh, how do we get black people to do something?" So then they
Mm-hmm.
start going back to the simple playbook. I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to watch out for this. They go to the preachers. So they get the preachers saying, "Hey, everybody, go get this jab," or "Hey, everybody, go vote for this person," or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. They go to the athletes,
That's
right?
right.
They go to people in the music industry, like the rappers, and
Mm-hmm.
the singers. They also go to like your favorite actor, actress, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why. So it wasn't a coincidence that
Mm-hmm.
whenever, that whenever a celebrity caught COVID, they would announce it on Twitter, like,
Mm-hmm.
"I just caught it. Everybody go get shot."
Not
Or
only that, but it has to have some emotional charge to it. And what was the one thing that
mm,
happened during the pandemic that really got us riled up in the streets?
oh wait, I remember the police shootings in
The
the black.
police shootings,
Oh yeah.
they'll take these in glaring injustices. I mean, injustices happen every day, but they
Hmm.
take these big glaring injustices, and then all of a sudden it becomes a big deal, and because it has to have some emotional charge. It's a magical thing that's doing for us. It has to have an emotional charge because nothing can get pushed forward unless there's an emotion tied to it, especially for us. Like, can you imagine all the black women, how we felt to see a black man shot down in the street and
Mm,
him calling out for his mother? I mean,
mm,
that, oh my good. I mean, I shed a tear. A tear came down, and
mm.
so it's just that emotional charge behind it. That's what put Biden and Harris in the office
That's
during a
well,
pandemic.
you know what I
It
when you
was, they doubled down on it. You're gonna die because you black from this
Yep,
thing.
they gonna kill you. I'm
They're gonna
I'm
kill you in
scared.
the
Every
streets.
time my son leaves the house, I'm afraid
Yes.
he won't come back. Right? Yeah,
Yes.
that's real interesting. Well, with you being a therapist and everything, you talk a lot about um how trauma can
Mm-hmm.
make people easily triggered, and that makes me, what I visualize when you talk about that is because a lot of us in here, a lot of people in this room probably in relationships with traumatized people who are easily triggered.
Look,
um
just
my
just being
I
black.
think right, being black means you probably have had a lot of
Yeah.
trauma. I'm married to a woman who grew up in the murder capital of the world. Gary was at
Hold
that
on.
time.
I was very.
It don't matter.
Don't you
It
dare.
don't
I was
matter.
very
Gary,
sheltered.
you didn't get killed, but don't tell me you didn't know nobody who got killed.
I didn't really listen.
Don't. But, what?
There's a lot of good things in Gary. Don't you
No,
dare.
Gary's a wonderful place. I'm just saying that
Don't
that
don't
Gary.
start with
I'm saying
me.
Gary has had his struggles, right?
Yeah, and
And
yeah.
but also you deal with me and my trauma, right? And you see me, there's times when I get triggered, right? So what I visualize when you talk about trauma and how it easily triggers people, and I see a whole community full of trauma, I visualize a big tinder box, where if you strike a match,
Yeah.
it's going to burn. The whole thing's going to just blow up, right? And I think that that's what they do. They say, look, black people are traumatized, and traumatized people can be manipulated,
Yes, they
and all
can.
you got to do is spark a match
Our
and set off a
emotions.
tinderbox. Yes, and that's what they do at every election. Watch it, because pay attention, y'all.
Oh, it's been quiet now, hasn't it?
Has anybody noticed? Tell me if you've noticed this. Have you noticed that since the election is over, you remember a year ago you had Black Lives Matter out in the streets every
Mm-hmm.
day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had buildings being burned down, windows busted, police shootings every week. They were
Mm-hmm.
talking about some police shooting injustice. Did the cops suddenly stop shooting black people? Like, did injustice stop happening?
Maybe
Did
they grew a heart.
it is Black Lives Matter gone? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not in the media anymore. See, they'll put specific things in the media because they want to draw your attention to certain things. That's
Mm-hmm.
why, and I had people that got mad because I wasn't freaking out about the pandemic. It's because, yeah, because if it wasn't in the media, you probably wouldn't even know about it.
Mm-hmm.
You just wouldn't. You know, Go ahead, babe.
So it's manipulation. It's manipulation
Extensive,
of us.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
extensive manipulation, and I'm not falling for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of it. I'm not interested in it. And at least a crap like this, where I remember being really mad when when Ice Cube was trying to do his thing with his, and now he had a team of scholars working with him. He wasn't
Mhm.
just doing it on his own. So I want people to know that the contract of Black America was not just, well, I'm Ice Cube, so I'm gonna write this contract. No, he talked to me. Me and him talked for hours. He talked to other people for a long time,
Mhm.
to put all these ideas together. And I remember that the Biden administration said something where he and I both, he told me this, and I said, okay, I think we understand this is a complete sucker move. They said, he said, well, can we sit down and have a meeting? And the Biden team said something like, let's talk after the election. And I was,
Ah,
and I said, how stupid
to
do
have a
they?
real conversation.
Right? I'm like, how stupid do they think people are? Like, because and then since the election, there has been no talk. They haven't returned any of those calls. Why? Well,
Mhm.
why is that? Well, because they don't have to. In finance, we
Mhm.
call that moral hazard. When you give somebody else all the power, once you give away that power, you can't get that back. Black people, pay attention. You had all the power in the world during that election. All the power in the world. You gave your power away. So stop complaining that you're powerless, because you gave it all away when you had it. You strike while the iron is hot. Just please remember that. Babe, do you have any final words?
Let this be a lesson for all of the things that you talk about every single day. This is an illustration. Could we have predicted all of this?
Mm,
I think we just need to remember this. Let's not forget.
absolutely.
Let us all not forget.
Yeah, and this is
Mhm.
why I wear annoying shirts like this that get on my friends' nerves.
Did
It's
you
like,
know what? I've noticed that white people love when you wear that shirt. Have you noticed?
that's so true.
They love it. They're like, yeah, because they see it.
Well, I didn't vote for that Biden nonsense in the
Mhm.
last election, or,
Mhm.
or or Trump. I didn't vote for either side.
Mhm.
I'm voting for Black people in every election. And by the way, some of y'all are asking where you can get this shirt. Actually, you can go to wokeblacktees.com. I'll put the URL on the screen, and also, just so you know, we're not sitting around here just complaining about the problem and not seeking to solve it. I want to quickly, if you'll allow me to, share a couple things we're doing to try to solve the problem. First thing I'll say is, in terms of suggestions and thoughts for HBCUs, because I do respect and appreciate them, and I believe that they serve a great role for society, and can
Yes.
serve an even better role if they really get the potential out of their students by focusing heavily on Black business development, as
Mhm.
opposed to
Mhm.
teaching Black people to manage white businesses. Like, we have to own the industry, we must own the infrastructure. So that's something that I think HBCUs need to do. They need to embrace powernomics philosophies, as opposed to just simply teaching Black people to go work for white people. Also, Black celebrities, all the celebrities that talk a lot of smack about how much they care about Black people, I think they can help close some of that funding gap, become some of that part of that donor base. Also, I believe that we need to create independent Black institutions. I think that, so when we created the Black Business School, I made it really 100% abundantly clear that I did not want any government funding. I don't want to be
Mhm.
under the thumb of the government, because I know how that works. I understand, my PhDs in finance, so I know that money typically brings a trade-off. That money brings power, and
Mhm.
so with the Black Business School, people say, well, why don't you get accredited so you can get money from the government, this, that, and the other? And I say, no, I don't want that.
Mhm.
I believe freedom is something that you're not going to get from the people that have oppressed you. It just doesn't. Freedom don't work like that. So the blackbusinessschool.com is where you can go to take a look. And of course, you may or may not know that the All Black National Convention is happening this month, October 29th to November 1st. And what I'm going to do is actually show you guys, if you'll allow me to have 1 second of your time, to show you the quick little trailer we put together for the convention. So here we go. We're super excited. It's going to be awesome. These are your scholars, these are your leaders, these are your teachers. We have over 40 Black experts coming together with tons of people in the community in order to build the Black community. So check this trailer out. I'll put it up right now. All right, so that's our quick pitch on the All Black National Convention. I hope you'll think about joining us. Don't forget that if you are a college student and you have a student ID, you can come to the convention for free. Also, we have group discounts. We'd love for you to bring your whole family. We have a whole curriculum for children. We got brothers like Freddie Gray and Al Duncan, who are multimillionaires in their respective businesses, who will be literally showing you the game on, where millionaires come from, how all that works. In fact, I'll put these guys on the screen. This is their picture, right? So these are just two out of like 40 something extraordinary black people we're bringing in, and I highlighted these brothers because I know both of these men, and you're not going to hear about them on TV. White people are never going to put these guys on TV because they ain't running around with a string of babies mamas. They have wives that they've loved for a couple 2 decades. They ain't got a bunch of kids everywhere. They've raised their children to be powerful, committed citizens in the black community. They're not in the NBA or the NFL. Or signing a rap contract. They're not rapping and busting rhymes. No disrespect to the rappers. We're gonna have the rappers there. Keelan E. Honda, D1, Jay Ortiz. A lot of great rappers are gonna be there. But these guys are not. They're not rapping. They're not balling. They're not. They're just hardworking, hustling ass black men who love black women, who love the black community. They're educating black children and they're making millions while doing it. These are the superheroes of the community.
Mhm.
These are the black men and black women I want y'all to know about. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disrespecting anybody else in terms of how they make their money and what they do. Some people think that one guy got offended on my Instagram. When I brought this up, he said, "Why are you dissing black men?" But I said, "I'm not dissing black men, but you're dissing black men by thinking that all we can do is rap and play basketball." No, these guys ain't got to walk around with 80 pounds of gold chains on their neck to show you that they're doing well. They're not trying to be shiny Negroes. They're trying to be successful black men. And that's what we need in the community. We need real power. And so Freddie Gray and Al Duncan literally are just two out of over 40 people. I mean, I could bring up Brother Nuri Muhammad. There's so many. It's Queen Afua. Oh my God. I mean, there's so many amazing black people who are going to be at this convention. And these are the people that I just want y'all to know about, man, because I feel like we just get caught up in all the flashy, shiny nonsense, and it makes us weak and it makes us distracted, and it leads to nothing but epic and consistent failure for a large percentage of our community. And somehow we're tricked into thinking that we're winning because we have a couple of people on TV. Like, I mean, my God. And if you want to talk about black health, Lord have mercy. If y'all have not seen this lady, Queen Afua, then you don't know what you're missing. Queen Afua is, first of all, she's 68 and she got the energy of a 30-year-old. And she is literally almost, if I were to name a minister of health in the black community, um, I would pick Queen Afua because she's not going to tell you about getting no jabs one way or the other. She's not going to talk to you. She's not going to do what Big Pharma does, which is to put everybody on a pill. 70 million Americans are on mind altering medications, and millions of Americans are taking pills to solve their problems. Queen of Four teaches you how to be healthy, how to have a healthy immune system, you know, and because I'm telling you, a lot of this pandemic, where black folks are going down, like, when we're dying more than other people, and everybody's complaining about it and sad about it, it's because we don't have good immune systems. It's because we're not healthy. It's the Popeyes chicken. It's the glorification of obesity. These are our leaders, man. Like, these are the people that you need to be celebrating, man. Stop. Please, let's all as a community, I just pray that we move past um, the superficial and start going for the substance. I know that the flash is exciting and fun sometimes, but it's the substance that matters. Like sisters like this. Has anybody ever heard Victory Boyd sing before? Let me tell you a story about Victory Boyd. Victory Boyd sings like an angel. I kid you not. She sings like an angel, and she's 100% black. And she's such an amazing singer that when she sang for Jay-Z, for the first time, he signed her to Rock Nation on the spot. So she's a Rock Nation artist, and she also blew up because we shared her in our network. We put her, she will say this, she'll say this on stage. We put our video on one of our Facebook pages and it went viral in the B1 in the Black community. Next thing I know, this young sister is singing all over the world. She was, and let me tell you another part about Victory Boyd. Look her up, Victory Boyd. You got to look her up. She comes from an amazing family. Her father John literally got all 9 of his Black children on the same page, and they all run their business together. And they are 100% Black. And her father is going to be there literally teaching a class on how to structure your Black family so that you have power and wealth just within the family. One Black institution that was murdered, taken out by the war on drugs and all that was the Black family. And that is your power base. So he's going to literally teach on that. That's what our people need to learn. Not just how to go get a job for white folks. That don't make no sense, right? So anyway, Victory's going to be there. And last story I'll tell you about Victory. I could talk about this young lady all day. She was supposed to sing the national anthem for the NFL season opener. Millions of people, Dallas Cowboys against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. She was their singer, and they came to her and they told her family, "You got to get the jab in order to sing this song." And for religious reasons, her family said, "No, we'll wear a mask, we'll take a test, we'll socially distance, but and I'm only on the field for a second. Is there another way around it?" They said, "No, you must put this in your body." So you know what this lady, what young lady said? You know what her family said? They said you could take that money and shove it up your ass. They didn't say it like that because they don't cuss, but I'll cuss on their behalf. They told them to take that money and shove it up their butt. That's what you talk about. We talk about principles over profits. And that to me is the type of heroic stuff that we need to know about in our community. This is the stuff that we need to study when it comes to what it means to be a superhero in our community. These are your superheroes, and that's what we're honoring at the All Black National Convention. So I hope you'll go to the website. Just take a look. Give some consideration. We would love to have you there. We're gonna do it to the fullest for you guys, and I hope you'll join us. If you are a college student and you have a valid student ID, you can come for free. We have an entire curriculum for children. Your children will be transformed. If you are interested in crypto, we've got crypto experts. If you're interested in relationships, we've got therapists and relationship experts like my wife, Dr. Alicia, a full professor of social work and a licensed therapist. Dr. Christina Clark, who gave that amazing testimony before the Michigan House of Representatives, she's going to be there. But we're not necessarily anti or pro jab. We have people there that are okay with the jab, that are cool with it, right? So you're not getting one particular perspective because we want to find a way to use love as the bond and the glue that will bring us together as opposed to letting these divisive issues pull us apart. So that's what the convention is all about. That's what we're doing. That's my quick pitch. I appreciate y'all for listening. Thank you so much. And by the way, if you want to get your B1 shirt, feel free to go to wokeblacktees.com. This is what we're gonna be rocking at the convention as well. So you can wear your B1 t-shirt to the convention if you want to. I cannot wait to see you guys. And feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com. You can take a look at everything that we have to offer. Oh, sorry, I'm choking here. All right, my wife is laughing at me because I just choked because I get excited. I think I got choked up, y'all. I got choked up. Yeah, well, that's all right. We about to get this done. We about to make this happen. We are not here to fail. We are powerful. We are unstoppable. We are the original man, the original woman. We are the greatest on this planet, if you ask me. And shout out to that's my grandma Felicia. She represents the Black Business School Panther, and that's how we roll. We roll like Panthers, and we don't ever lose. So God bless you guys. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Okay. Bye, everybody.